everybody, welcome to a brand new movie review. This one is for A Quiet Place Day 1. Now, it's hard to believe, but when A Quiet Place came out in 2018, nobody thought that it was going to amount to much. Sure, we all thought it would maybe be a decent little horror movie, but oh boy, has this franchise ever turned out to have legs. Oh wow, with them back with a third film in the franchise, a prequel called A Quiet Place Day 1. So in this one, a woman named Sam, played by Lupita Nyong'o, finds herself trapped in New York City at the start of the alien invasion, depicted in the first two movies. Now, Michael Sarnowski's prequel to John Krasinski movies has a more dramatic bent than the other two films. Anyone who thought this would maybe be like the Aliens to A Quiet Place 1 and 2 is wrong, as this perhaps even more performance and character driven than the other two films in the franchise. Sure, there's alien attacks and carnage, but at its heart is a story about two people turned together by fate. Lupita Nyong'o's Sam and Joseph Quim's Eric have little to nothing in common, but they both have a lot of empathy, and as the film goes on, the bond becomes surprisingly potent. The characterizations have always made the A Quiet Place movies quite good, with Krasinski, Emily Blunt, Melissa Simons, and Noah Jupp in the first movie, plus Cillian Murphy in the second film, always excellent. A Quiet Place Day 1 is a great movie, but what shocked me the most is the turn for almost the entirety of the film, where there's a lot of scares and thrills to be had in A Quiet Place Day 1. You get your really tense moments, very suspenseful moments. You can hear everyone munching on popcorns in the theater. You're scared to reach out into your snack bag. I know that was me. The movie does not lean in further into these action but explosion tropes that I was afraid of. Instead, it leans a little bit more into its dramatic and emotional stuff that was also very present in the early two films, and I mean that in a good way. When I say it is one of the most surprising parts of A Quiet Place Day 1, I'm willing to say this is a pretty beautiful movie. While there's a lot of scares, and looking now at the trailers and the posters, this movie was marketed all wrong, but I think it was a good deceptive marketing, because if they actually marketed the tone and kind of themes of what is going on in this movie, I think people would have thought that's boring or weird for A Quiet Place. But why I'm so emotional doing this alien invasion movie? They hit a lot of interesting details, specifically involving Lupita Nyong'o's character, so just getting onto her, great protagonist. There's something you find about her, like immediately when the movie opens, that just kind of sets the tone for her mood throughout this apocalypse, and it puts her on a path for just like a really great story. Joseph Quinn, I also really enjoy in this movie. He plays a guy who just came to New York for law school. He's from another country, the UK, so he mainly just ends up clumping onto Lupita Nyong'o's character of Sam, cause he's like, I don't know New York, I don't know anybody here, you seem to know your way around, let me just follow you cause I want to survive. And while he's very much a whip and super scared of everything going around him, he has a really nice charming side that creates a good platonic dynamic between him and Lupita Nyong'o. Another thing that I love about this movie, that I just love about this franchise in general, is just the creative sequences and what they can do in silence, in loud noises. They do retreat a lot of stuff that's already been established in the past two films, like being able to scream over a waterfall, the aliens now being able to swim. But along with that, they throw in a couple of new things with like rains and storms. Not just that, but also the New York setting in the city streets, the amount of people going into subways, large buildings. It felt like they really did use the setting to make you feel different from stuff that we have seen in the other two movies. But again, the thing I keep coming back to, it's just how surprised I am by the human story here. Like the first two A Quiet Place movies, they had emotional elements to it. You really feel for the family, even more in the second film where the father is no longer there, and they just have to try and figure out what to do. In this movie, again, plays more on emotionally rich stuff, but for completely different reasons. And it's also because of the movie taking its time to make you care about the main character, the side characters. You feel even more tense when they put in situation where they might die or they do die. And even hats off to the director Michael Sarnowski, because for a Quiet Place film, a movie dealing with like an alien invasion, there are sequences in here that are just so beautifully shot, where they just the imagery alone and the pairing of music and the context of what is going on, that alone could just get you swelling up. There was a part of me that knew this was probably going to end up being a great movie, but I was just not expecting these specific elements were going to be the standout in A Quiet Place film. Now, with that said, I do have some nitpicks and negatives that I think I could see some people mentioning it off. So for one, if you are a pet lover, I think you're both going to get a huge kick off this movie and also really just be filled with anxiety. I guess that's more on the positive or mixed thing side, but I think even some of the non-animal lover will find real annoyance with the cat in this movie and more serious critique on the movie. I really appreciate them actually focusing on a human story first. I think that for the people who are curious about the monsters and things going on, there's not much new to specifically do with them. In fact, there's only one new thing here they do with them, and it's like a small thing detail, and I think a lot of people could end up missing it. So if you're hoping they like add a new form of alien or a new explanation to the aliens, to where they came from or what is going on, I'll say most of the stuff in here has been retouched from other movies with just little touches of new stuff. That's really my only complaint with this movie. Other than that, the movie is excellent. I had a blast watching this film. I was very tense in the edge of my seat, but this is my favorite of the franchise. I think because the story here, I it was more impactful than the other ones, and the other two movies have really emotional stories and put on your heartstring. But for some reason, this one really shocked me, and I love the character here, and I love the setting. I think they use the New York setting quite well, and but just the emotional story in this movie just it's really really well done. So I highly recommend you go watch it, and I think you're going to end up leaving the theater and getting some pizza, because that's all I was thinking about leaving this movie. And it's great, and you know what I mean about that once you see the movie. So highly recommend it. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, consider subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.